Okay, so today we're going to talk about the client from hell and why you kept them for too long. So, my name is Lynette. I'm the host, and we are going to go over the real question isn't why they were difficult, but why did you keep them? So, let's go ahead and dive right in. So, why we keep the clients that we should release? Number one, financial fear. They're a significant percentage of your revenue, and you don't know when you can replace them. So, it's that fear of having that gap of income. Guilt. You've been working together for so long, and the thought of hurting them feels unbearable. You feel like they're going to take it personal, and you shouldn't worry about that. Three, conflict avoidance. You don't want to have that conversation. You don't want to tell them why you have to let them go. You don't want to have to be confrontational with them. Maybe they argue back, but it is something that you need to kind of figure out why is it so uncomfortable. Number four, the sunk cost trap. You've already invested so much that leaving feels like wasting everything. You've invested time, energy, maybe some special education to take care of it, the research that you've done. Hopefully, you've been reimbursed by their fees for those things, but you still feel like you've invested so much into it that you just don't want to let them go. Number five, imposter syndrome. This is a big one. You wonder if you'll be able to attract better clients if you release this one. So, just a real quick thing about imposter syndrome. I think all of us go through that at one point in our careers. We think that we're not good enough. Maybe I'm not smart enough. Maybe I didn't learn enough. Maybe there's something I'm missing. Totally normal to have those feelings. If you thought that you knew everything, that I could guarantee you didn't know everything. You would be partially educated on that. If you doubt what you know, that means that you don't know what you don't know. You don't know if you know everything. So why would you pretend that you did? So imposter syndrome is real, and unfortunately, it does happen to everybody. And this is employees, employers, business owners, salespeople, everything. We all go through it, and it's okay to have that. If you don't have that, that's when it becomes abnormal. We can't know everything. We are only as smart as our resources and the information that's available to us, as well as our own knowledge and how to understand what we're reading. Comprehension part of it is really where it comes into play. You don't have to know everything about your business. You just have to be able to know how to find the answers. So, imposter syndrome is real, but I can guarantee you're not an imposter. You're still learning, and being in lifelong learner is more beneficial than thinking you know everything. So, number six, hope. You keep believing that they're going to change, that they're going to improve, they're going to do what you ask them to do, or begin to respect your work and time. Maybe they're going to like realize that you are really good at what you do and that they need to just let you do your job rather than calling you up every 5 minutes with questions. So, six honest truths about difficult client relationships. Pattern rarely changes. I'll tell you that right now. If the client comes in huffing and, talking down to you or anything, they're always going to do that. Nothing's going to change. Even if you tell them, please do not talk to me that way or whatever, they're still going to do it. It's just going to slip and you're going to be like right back where you were at the very beginning. So the client who questions every invoice, violates every boundary, and drains every interaction has shown you who they are. What's the saying? If someone shows you who they are, believe them. So history is more reliable than hope. Two, financial fear is usually overestimated. There are many times that I've let go of horrible clients just to gain two new ones because I was able to get that burden off of me. I was able to be more positive in my interactions with people. I was able to go out and have that little bit of energy to be able to go and find new clients to replace them. I never felt like, oh, I'm going to lose this client, therefore I'm going to lose that money and then not make it up sometimes two or more fold. So definitely worth not worrying about that because you will be able to replace that client because your new energy is going to come out and people are going to be attracted to that. Number three, release creates space. That's also another thing. All the time that you spent dreading talking to that client, working on that client, answering all the client's questions, it releases that space so that you can, and that time, so that you can use that time now for something more valuable, like getting more clients or more education or something, rather than keeping them and it draining you, draining your soul from everything, just to take care of that client, hoping that they'll be happy about something. And you will but you will find that when you release that negative energy out of your life, you're going to be able to replace it with positive energy. Many times I've replaced my client that I liked them, but I just couldn't work with them anymore. And I've always got people that it's like, I love this client. I found that newfound energy for the new person. Number 4, you can end it with grace. So you don't ever have to get into an argument with the client or anything like that. You can let them know that you're moving in a different direction, that you can refer them out, or talk to somebody else that may want to take them as a client and open that door for them, an introduction or something. So a professional, warm, clear offboarding is possible even in the most difficult client relationships. You do not have to be brutal to be honest. You do not have to apologize to be clear. Very important. I had a hard time with that. I needed a lot of help on how to offboard clients. In a way, I want them to leave feeling that, oh, she can't work with me anymore, but she still, helped me so much and everything like that. If you're positive with them, you're not going to get the bad reviews. You're not going to get a person trying to get revenge on you. You're not going to get, the people that want to talk a lot or say negative things about you, even though you did nothing wrong. So just make sure that if you close that door, that you're allowing him or her to go through another door. That's always a great, asking someone maybe newer in the industry or maybe even someone who's a little bit more firm that will put them in kind of check before they even walk through the door. Number 5, guilt is not a business strategy. Keeping a client because you feel guilty about leaving is not kindness. It is a disservice to both of you. A relationship that doesn't work better by continuing. So what that means is that you have a client that's negative working with a professional that is not interested. Maybe they're negative. Maybe there's a little bit of bickering or something like that. Neither one of you deserve that. So let them go, find someone that they work better with. Number 6, your standards are the ceiling. Lay down the rules. Those are your rules. If they don't follow your rules, you let them go. So every client you accept defines what you are available for. When you keep a difficult client, you communicate that this is an acceptable experience. Your next client reads that because you're doing it for one, you're going to do it for someone else. So set your boundaries and stick with them. If the client doesn't fit, you've got to let them go. It's not personal until it is, and we don't want to ever have that in our business. So what the experts say, the client you tolerate define the clients you attract. So if you're negative because of one client, you're going to attract more of those kind of clients that might be defensive or argumentative or something because they're getting that feeling from you too. So you never want to do that. You want to make sure that you cut those out. You only have clients that you enjoy working with. They don't have to be the best clients. They don't have to be the ones that are just sugarcoating everything and making everything, rainbows and kittens. It could be just ones that you can communicate with. So they could be firm, they could be stern, everything like that, as long as you are able to communicate with them. I've had a lot of clients that were very hard-headed or very opinionated or something, but I was still able to communicate with them and give them my point of view without having this resentment or argumentative or anything. So just make sure that you are working with strong clients, but the ones that are still open to change and opinions and things like that. The ones that are just hard-headed, that just want to do things their way, they're never going to accept, your advice to them. They're always going to find some other way. They're going to do research. They're going to, question everything you say, everything you do. And who wants to work like that? No one really. And why should they have to do all that research just to prove you wrong? Let them go work with somebody else. And if that person doesn't like them, they'll send it to someone else. And maybe the client will eventually get the message that it's them, not you. So, and the next one is most service professionals overestimate the financial risk of releasing a difficult client and dramatically underestimate the cost of keeping them. in team morale, owner energy, and creative capacity. So, what that means is that your team is seeing it. They're feeling that negative energy also. So, for morale booster, getting rid of that client that maybe didn't even work well with your employees is also showing them that you care about them. It's showing your employees that you care about their well being more than a client's. Our employees are one of our biggest assets in our business. Excuse me, our employees are one of our biggest assets in our business. We need to make sure that they are mentally not being abused or being mistreated or anything like that or talked down to. So I've actually had the pleasure of terminating a client who actually insulted one of my employees. It wasn't a major insult, but it crossed the line, and I just didn't want to have my employee ever feel intimidated by a client. So I let the client go. They left peacefully. I thanked him for being my client, but that I had to go a different direction because we are not running that kind of office. So quick books worth reading. So this is going to be a couple books that I've researched a little bit. Some I've read in some of my videos, some I have not yet, but they're things that it's almost like my wish list of things that I'd really like to read at some point. So the first one is The Win Without Pitching Manifesto. So this is by Blair Enns, and it's the essential guide to positioning yourself so you attract clients who value your work and release the ones who don't. Another book is the Book Yourself Solid book. I actually have read this book. It's been a long time. That's been about 15 years, 20 years. So this is the Red Velvet Rope Policy, how to define who you work with and build the client base that energizes rather than drains you. If you've ever been in any kind of group class or training or something, it talks about defining your perfect client. What do they look like? What is their age? What do they do for a living? What is their gross income? What kind of house do they live in? Do they have any children? What about pets? All of those things, you define that client, and those are the clients that you want. You want to know the husband's a doctor, the wife's a lawyer, they got two kids, they got one on the way, they have a dog, they have a cat, they have a bird, they have a goldfish tank. They vacation at Disneyland every year. You find those things, their age ranges. They're both 40, they're both college professionals, or graduates. Those kind of things. You define who you want, and those are the people that you want to work with. You want the people that are, I'm not telling you who you want to work with, but in my case, I want to work with people that are educated. I want to work with people that are a professional in the industry that they have chosen, but they try not to wear all the hats. So they're not the jack of all trades. They know that sometimes they need help on certain situations, and they know that they want to work with people that they know, like, and trust, or people that are like-minded like them. So just a just a little way to, if you've never heard of that before, definitely look into that also about defining your perfect client. So you already know what to do. You've known for months. So every client relationship you release that doesn't serve you creates room for the one that does. You are not obligated to keep working with someone whose behavior violates your standards. Now, even if you're an employee, you can actually talk to your boss and tell them that this is not a client that you want to work with, but that it's conflicting with your morals or your energy or whatever. If you talk to your employer, it could change also. But this is going to be specifically for self-employed people, but that also does apply to even people that are employees. Well, I was an employee for another business, and there was a client I just could not work with. What was funny is I still worked on her financial side of it, but I didn't have to communicate with her anymore. So, it worked out okay because I didn't have to talk to her. But then I did actually, now that I think about it, I did start talking with her again, and her tone changed. I don't know what it was at the beginning. It might have been because I was younger or something, and she didn't like working with me, or she was missing the person that I replaced. I'm not sure, but her tone changed. I still didn't really communicate with her too much. And then she actually ended up selling her business. So it kind of worked out. But I still worked on her account because I knew her account. I just didn't have to deal with her when she called. So you already know what to do. You've known for months. We went over that. Every client relationship you release, you are not obligated to keep working with them. The guilt will be temporary. The relief will be lasting. So when you get rid of that client, you're going to remember that client and who you do not want to work with. I had another scenario where the owner, it was a restaurant, a very large restaurant with their own name brand items, and I just could not work with her. She wasn't mean, she wasn't rude. There was just something about her tone and the way her and I, the synergy just wasn't there. And I ended up letting her go because it just felt like it was escalating to something. And as her business had some complications, it was like I could feel that negativity all the time. And it was just not somebody I wanted to work with. So I ended up letting her go, and I'm sure she found someone great, and there was no hard feelings. I helped transition. There was no issues. It was just I found that every time she called, every email I got, it was just this dread. If you've ever been there, you'll know. But I ended up letting her go, and there was no hard feelings. And I'm hoping that she was successful, and I helped with the transition, and there was no issues. If she would have called me 3 months later, I would have still helped her with the transition. So you've known this, make the decision, release the weight. So take a moment to reflect. What is what is keeping this client, this specific difficult client, actually cost you in energy, team morale, and your peace? Is the revenue worth that number? If the answer is no, then you know what you need to do. You need to make space for the clients that you want to work with. So sit with this, write it down. If you need help, let's work with it, work this through this together. I'd be more than happy to talk to you. So starting this month, calculate the true cost of this client. I want you to write down the time that you not only have spent working on the client, but also the stress. How much stress? Missed opportunities. How many times have you been doing something because you've been taking something that they're complaining about and you haven't been able to go to other events or meeting with other clients or taking away something from training your staff or just your own personal time? So divide the revenue by the true cost. What is the real rate of return, the ROI? Um, if it's less than your minimum rate, then you know that you're not making any money on it. So just think about that. Drop the exit message today. Now, I prefer to mail with certified so I know the client gets it, but you could still do the email also as the initial with the follow up final disengagement letter. So draft the exit message. Don't send it. Just write it. Warm, professional, brief. This engagement is no longer the right fit. Have it ready before you need the courage. Um, and rewrite it as needed. Run it through AI, make it friendly. Make it about like, I'm the one that I have to disengage, not that you don't tell the client that I can't work with you anymore. Let them know that you're changing the direction, you're doing something different, that it's no longer a good fit, that you're going to be taking a step back in your business and working on something else, just something. And just set it aside. Don't don't worry about it doing it today. Don't do it when you're upset. Do it when you're ready to do it. Set a 30-day offboarding timeline. So when you actually do send that email or letter or whatever, start your 30-day countdown. Let them know that you're going to be able to help them for the next 30 days with the transition. After that, you have to charge them for it. So some my clients pay me on a monthly basis and it's a flat fee. So I'd be more than happy to help the client for 1 month and after that they have to start paying me again. So, but making it real by putting it on a calendar that they have 30 days to transition to something else. And that's the offboarding time. After that, you'd be more than welcome, more than happy to provide anything you can, but you're not going to be helping with the offboarding. So define what replaces the revenue. So now this is a perfect time to define your perfect client. Is the perfect client in a certain business and industry? Like I said, is it a husband, wife, two kids, a dog, a cat, fish? Do they go to Disneyland? Define your perfect client. And that's going to put that in your head of the person that you're really trying to attract. If you know who you want, you're going to attract that kind of client. So, but if you have that negativity kind of looking, that dark cloud, you're not going to get your client that you want. So define what replaces the revenue. Name specifically how you will replace that client's revenue. Have a plan, removes the financial fear that keeps you stuck. Once you define your perfect client, also how are you going to find them? What are you going to do? How are you going to reach out to them? Are you going to make some phone calls? Are you going to ask your clients for referrals? That's a great one. If you have your favorite clients and say, I am looking for more clients that are just like you. Do you have anybody that you can refer to me? We have open slots for new clients. That's a great one. I've always got great referrals from asking my clients. But don't just assume they're always going to think about you. Put it in their head every, couple or not couple months, but maybe every 6 months to say, we're looking for new clients. I'd love to work with people that are like you. The clients can be flattered. And they might go, you know what? My brother just started a new business, or my sister just graduated college and has started her new federal job, and she's looking at investment advice. Those are the things they're going to think about you, but you got to kind of remember they want to kind of hoard you to themselves. They're like, that's my person. Make sure that you open the door and let them know that you are accepting new clients. Sometimes, if you're very good at what you do, they just assume that you don't need clients. Open the door, let them know that you are looking for new people and that you'd love to work with people like them. If they have any friends or family or any colleagues or anything like that that they could refer to you, that you would appreciate it. So, like I said, last one, 5. Write your ideal standard. So this is one page, who they are, how do they communicate, what do they value, how do they treat your time? Every future client gets measured here. So that's kind of like going back to identify your perfect client and reach out to your perfect clients that you have now. Ask them for more perfect clients, tell them you're available, and then also just keep that in your head all the time of what your perfect client is, because I guarantee you will attract those to you. Okay, last is make sure that if you enjoyed this content, you want to hear more things, and that we're going to be going into tax topics and business operations, some, life advice that I have right now because I've went through a lot of things that my clients are going through and people I've met are going through. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. Make sure you like the video. Make sure you turn on the notifications so you get notified when we upload a new video. Leave a comment below. Let me know. Do you have a nightmare client? Are you going to do something? Are you going to draft up who your perfect client is? Are you going to reach out to your clients and ask them? I want to work with people like you. I have openings. Do you have any referrals for me? Um, but put that in the comments in that because you're going to not only let me know, but you're also going to let other people know of things that you're doing and how you want to grow your business. Make sure that if you have any questions or concerns, you can reach out to us on our main page. You can find my email through there, my email link, as well as our website. If you want to set up a consultation for services that we offer, I'm more than welcome to have a no obligation meeting with you. And then also you can find us on Substack and Instagram. Substack is going to have a little bit more written information about this video. I'm trying to keep everything lined up. So you should be able to go to the Substack link and find a article about what we're talking about today and a little bit more dialogue, writing type of things. But make sure you follow us there. And then on Instagram, we're just going to have some fun stuff and some memes and funny stuff and everything like that. And I'll have links to videos also on there. So if you use Substack or Instagram, make sure you follow on one or the other or both. We appreciate it. Make sure you turn on your notifications. I'm Lynette, and I'm looking forward to working with you. Take care of yourself. Bye.